LPT request: how to move on after dating a coworker. After being with my ex for 10 years, our relationship ended. We just grew apart. After that, something between me and a coworker began to grow. After lots of talks about this being smart since we are colleagues, we decided to give it a try. After an amazing start and 6 months in which I kinda fell in love, she mentioned having doubt. A week after we told our boss about us. This ultimately resulted in her ending it. After that, I dated around a bit. Met a few beautiful and nice women. But I can't seem to bind. I still see my colleague 3-4 times a week. And the job requires seeing each other often. Is there anyone who can help me with this? All tips are greatly appreciated. Your personal relationship has ended, so it's now inappropriate to act like you still have one. That goes for her as well. You need to maintain a professional relationship, and that means treating her like any other coworker. If it helps, just think of her as any other taken coworker. If you can't contain your emotions, it may be time for a transfer or new job. Difficult to let go, but you should. If you have trouble letting your coworker go, consider switching jobs. I dated a coworker for a few years. It was great until it wasn't anymore. She cheated on me. We broke up. I always made it a point to keep things professional in the workplace when we were dating. So I upheld that when we broke up. Obviously, I was in a bad mental place for a couple months, which I had to admit to my boss, as I clearly was not performing to my usual high standard and wasn't my usual self for a while, but I got over it eventually and things just went back to being professional, courteous and indifferent. I would never date a coworker ever again. Lol. Get a new job? Rule 1: don't date coworkers. Find a new job and learn from your mistake. There's a very good reason that don't date fuck your coworkers is the gold standard of functional workplace advice. You've got 2 options. 1. Treat this person like any other coworker and act professionally as you work together moving forward. 2. If you can't do that, someone's probably gotta find new employment. Either way, it's a good lesson on the potential downside of dating coworkers. Seriously, start applying for other jobs. That may seem draconian, but it's probably the only way. Your only other option is to constantly date other people. Just keep your dating life on high. Even then, you'll start to compare your dates to her. Quitting is the best option. Honestly, I would start to look for a new job. Getting into a relationship at work has a worst-case scenario of things getting awkward when the breakup happens. That is where you are. Don't ever dip your pen in the company ink was some advice I was given as a teenager. I've seen some disastrous work romances over the years. I can't think of a single time where the breakup didn't result in one or both employees eventually no longer working there. This is the reason I would never pursue a relationship at work or any other safe space. My favorite restaurant, my gym, etc. Don't shit where you eat. You should automatically envision the scenario of what if it ends badly. Then what? No freaking way I'm gonna quit my gym because of some failed relationship. So as a result, I just don't. Now yours is even worse because you have to go to work. Hopefully this is a lesson for the future. Don't get laid where you get paid unless you are a sex worker. You respected her enough to date her. Respect her enough to not fuck up either of your jobs over it. I think you've been in 2 pretty serious relationships and are still comparing everything to them. Love doesn't end on cue. Give yourself time. Take a break from dating and try to just form some friendships. Both male and female. Don't give yourself a time frame. You'll know when the time is right. If you try to rush it, you'll fall into the same situation. Deep breath. Relax. Take love out of the equation for now and just focus on other things. If you have a hobby, dive in. Working out? Set yourself some new goals. Career goals? Get some new training or do some networking. Lesson learned: don't dip your pen in company ink. How in the wide world of sports did you have lots of talks about dating a coworker and come to the conclusion that it was smart? Dude, one of the first rules of dating is never date your coworkers. Some may be cool with banging each other, but any time feelings are involved in anything and it fails, you will need to either find a new friend group, move cities, move anywhere else as long as there is plenty of distance, and keep going. That's what's known as moving on. Pick a direction and move. I switched jobs. My mental state is more important than my job, and I wasn't in a good place seeing her every day. Don't shit where you eat. This is why you don't shit where you eat. Work relationships very rarely work, then it's awkward till one of you quits. Either you have to find a way to deal with it being awkward or find a new job. You need to get a new job. Get so good at your job that you're the CEO, then fire her. Never shit where you eat. Never. Don't shit where you eat. I was told over 40 years ago, never get your pee where you get your paycheck. Piece of advice for the future. Don't shit where you eat. Change your attitude. It is what it is. Never date a coworker. That's why you don't shut where you eat. Now you gotta quit or get her fired somehow. After lots of talks about this being smart since we are colleagues, is this a fucking joke post? WTF has the boss to do with any of it? Damn, you shit in your work nest, it gonna be messy. For future, don't shit where you eat. The help you need is to not date coworkers in the future. On the job, romance is bad. It is good when it is good, but really bad when it goes bad. Don't lose the lesson. I have seen the emotions of losing someone take over to the point that somebody gets fired. Grieve in private and remain totally professional. Good luck. Never dip your pen in company ink. Rule 1: don't shit where you eat. Don't shit where you eat. TLDR: don't date coworker. Don't dip your pen in the company ink. Don't get your meat where you get your bread. To move on, just do the bare minimum and try to get fired. Cite it as depression, anxiety because of the relationship. You'll get put on benefits if you're in some kind of Western society. Don't shit where you eat. Tell all your male coworkers she is a freak in the bed or has a stinky vagina. Sometimes it's hard not to like PPL you work with, but I've learned the hard way as it can get awkward. She may be feeling awkward as well. Change jobs or act like she's dead to you. Luckily for me, one case, she moved. Other case, I moved. Worked out perfectly. I would consult RULPT because this sounds like piss disc territory. There's a reason for the saying don't shit where you eat. To prevent exactly this sort of situation. The only thing that will allow you to get over this is time and distance. Unlike a regular relationship, you don't have the luxury of distance. So it's going to probably take a lot more time than it normally would have. Your only option is to continue to live your life and find somebody else if that's what you want. Or you can keep pining away at her wishing for something that no longer exists. And never shit where you eat again. Are you sleeping with the new woman? Does she know you are still getting over someone else? Have you thought about what your life would be like if you worked somewhere else? Usually you can get a much higher paying job when you interview while you already have a job. Did you start dating around right after the two of you split? It's time to not date at all and focus on yourself. Give it time to settle and for you to normalize. Then consider dating.